ele só levanta mortos, né? Tipo, ele refaz ali
Sim,
o código. Eu
sim.
tava vendo um vídeo hoje sobre isso.
Mas
No
a
YouTube.
pegada do, né,
É,
a pegada do zumbi é um termo muito amplo. E esse vídeo que eu mandei é muito maneiro. Ele toca em todos esses aspectos. É muito maneiro. É muito legal.
uhum.
Mas aí no final ele meio.
Você
Fala.
tá ligado por que que eles são, por que que acontece aquilo?
Do que? Do Dead Space? Se você
É,
tá falando em questão de lore, eu sei da lore do Dead Space, então sim.
que tem artefato
Sim,
lá
eu
e
sei
tal,
da lore
né?
do Dead Space. Eu gosto de Dead Space, é muito maneiro.
Então,
Inclusive foi um.
aquilo lá, tipo assim, se cair uma gota de sangue no chão, aquilo vira um bagulho orgânico
Aham.
totalmente
É,
transmutado.
é tipo o bagulho. É tipo o. Como que é? Não, It. Ah, aquele filme antigo do. É um filme antigo de terror que. Não é It. Caralho, esqueci. The Thing. The Thing. The Thing.
A coisa?
É. Sabe? Sabe o
Por
que eu
que
tô
que você não
falando?
fala em português?
Não, mas eu não sei o nome em português do filme. Calma aí.
Não sei.
Chama The Thing. Tá,
A
eu vou,
Defend
eu vou te
ou
falar.
Defing?
The Thing? É, The Thing?
A Defing. Eu não sei não.
Bom, eu vou te falar o nome em português, que eu nunca tinha ouvido falar na minha vida. O Enigma de Outro Mundo.
Caralho, mudou um pouquinho só, hein?
Eu nunca tinha ouvido falar o nome desse bagulho. Pra mim sempre foi The Thing, tá ligado?
Caralho, só mudou um pouquinho o nome.
Você não deve estar reconhecendo,
Defing
mas
pra Enigma de Outro
eu vou
Mundo.
falar um pouco do filme, você vai acabar lembrando. Galera
Caralho.
presa no Alasca lá, não presa, numa estação de pesquisa do Alasca,
Nossa.
descobre uma parada underground que acaba dando uma parada alienígena que tipo se encosta em você, meio que invade suas células e se replica os caralhos e muda e modifica o seu corpo, cacete, tá ligado? Lembrou? Nunca viu? Nossa, tem que ver, hein?
Tô me lembrando.
Mano, você tem que ver, é muito bom. Tem um originalzão, que é muito bom, com efeito prático, caralho, mano, é de 82. Chama The Thing. Muito bom. E tem o de 2011 que é legalzinho também, mas já é tipo puro CGI, tá ligado? Eu gosto muito do original porque é tipo efeito prático e é muito maneiro. A vibe, tá ligado? Among Us? Among Us veio disso. Esse é da onde que surgiu Among Us, tá ligado? Basicamente. Porque a pegada do filme é, caralho, é um negócio alienígena que a gente não sabe direito o que é, mas é um negócio celular que meio que, tipo, invade você e você não pode nem, tipo, encostar nele, não pode ter contato com essa pegada. E ele meio que literalmente vira você e toma o seu lugar pra tentar matar o resto da galera. É Among Us. Entendeu?
É,
É a origem do Among Us.
basicamente.
É a origem do Among Us. O Among Us veio disso, devido a esse filme. É literalmente a galera presa numa parada tentando descobrir quem que é o alienígena. Among Us. Só que o filme se chama The Thing. Recomendo muito. É muito bom o filme, é antigão. É muito bom o filme. Mas, mano, eu acho que tá preso. Eu nem lembro porque eu tô falando desse filme já, eu esqueci desse detalhe. Mas, tipo, o que eu tava falando é que ele tá no final do vídeo ele comenta Dead Space, né? Mano, eu acho que de todas as paradas, tá ligado? Tá preso no Dead Space seria a parada mais aterrorizante possível. De tudo, de tudo. Dead Space é um
Só,
bagulho que eu acho que tá, tipo, no final da minha lista de apocalipse que eu quero participar, tá ligado? Definitivamente não, tá ligado? É um nope, nope, nope.
Dead
Dead,
Space é bizarro.
Dead Space
Porque
é
são bichos
hardcore.
imortais. É que Dead Space são bichos imortais, né, mano? Não
Mano,
tem. Não
não,
tem.
não é nem só bicho mortal, é um bagulho que fode com a sua cabeça. Você provavelmente já tá insta-fucked, quase que garantido de perder toda a loucura. São monstros mutáveis, os caras. Mano, a parada faz luas de carne viva e o caralho pra consumir. Mano, é um bagulho aterrorizante em múltiplos níveis, tá ligado? É tipo, é body horror, mind horror, tá ligado? Bagulho de alienígena fora da sua compreensão e o caralho. E você tentando sobreviver com um cano e o bicho se mutando na sua
E aí,
frente.
explica o que que é a relíquia em algum momento?
A gente. A gente só sabe. Acho que do meu conhecimento, que eu já vi vídeos de lore, de Dead Space e caralho, a gente não sabe o bagulho inteiro. A gente só sabe que o que que faz e o que que é alienígena, tá ligado? Mas não sabe exatamente porquê, da onde que vem e qual que é a parada, tá ligado? E eu acho que isso é legal, que faz parte do mistério, tá ligado? Mas esse é da minha parte, até onde eu sei, a gente não sabe do porquê. Por... Não tem porquê, só sabe o que faz isso, tá ligado? E que é antigaço e faz mais ou menos até onde que vai, que são as luas lá, louconas. As luas de carne. Que eu esqueci o nome, acho que tem um
Vou te,
nome.
vou te mostrar a lua de carne aqui.
Eu acho que realmente. E eu concordo, Dead Space já tá um pouquinho mais longe do espectro do zumbi clássico, mas é tipo. É um zumbi. É uma forma de zumbi. Zumbi é um termo muito amplo. E esse vídeo que eu vi é muito maneiro, que ele meio que explora tudo que é considerado ser um zumbi, todos os tipos. É muito maneiro. Não, assim, não necessariamente 100%, mas é um vídeo bem completo, eu gostei bastante de ver. E ele explora tanto videogame quanto filmes. E ele vai, tipo, puxando e mostrando desde as primeiras paradas. E da vida real também. Ele pode pegar bem legal esse vídeo. Nossa, eu gostei muito do vídeo.
What is clear is that they are transmitters, emitting some sort of signal. Once exposed to them, individuals begin to suffer from symptoms not unlike dementia.
Inclusive, Dead
O
Space
que
é um
eu
dos
vi é o cara meio que explicando o que é o Dead Space.
Ah, não, esse
O
vídeo
que
aqui é falando de tudo, aqui ele toca Dead Space no final e eu só quis comentar, nossa, acho que, realmente, de toda essa, porque ele mostrou vários cenários diferentes ao longo do vídeo, né, e aí, tipo, tá fresco na minha memória, eu falei, caralho, acho que de todos os bagulhos, Dead Space é o último que eu ia querer tá, você é louco, Dead Space é muito hardcore, né, puta merda, não dá, mano. Dead Space é tipo, me deu uma arma, eu acabo com mim mesmo agora. Foda-se, eu vou virar um necromorfo, foda-se, eu não vou estar mais aqui, tá ligado? Mano, mas me deu, eu acabo agora mesmo, imediatamente. Não tô afim, não quero participar. Dead Space é demais, mano. E é um dos jogos que eu gostaria muito de jogar o remake. Eu assisti o remake inteiro, mas eu tive a oportunidade de jogar no 360 lá muitos anos atrás, na época mesmo do jogo, tá ligado? E eu não consegui jogar. É um dos jogos que eu me cagava
Mas ele
de
dá
medo.
muito medo,
Eu
velho.
me cagava de medo. Eu realmente não conseguia jogar o jogo.
Eu
Era,
nunca nem tive a oportunidade.
não era meu, era de um amigo meu que ele tinha. Ele que me apresentou a franquia do 360 muito tempo atrás. Nossa, muito tempo atrás. E, mano, eu realmente não conseguia jogar o jogo. De tão medo que eu tinha. De absolutamente tudo. Tudo. Tudo me fazia cagar nas calças do jogo. Eu não tinha como. Não dava. É impossível. Tá fazendo o quê? Ah, tava vendo vídeo? Fazendo nada?
Eu
O
estou.
Pablo vazou, ele não ia
É,
jogar hoje? Ele brotou mais cedo e sumiu rápido depois, né?
eu não sei. Eu tô indo atrás de gear pro meu. Eu tô fazendo monge tanque pra puxar umas pedras.
Nossa, comentou, né? Ah, você tinha comentado DK, na verdade.
Hã?
Uh.
Não entendi.
Não, eu falei, você tinha comentado que você tava querendo fazer um tanque, só que você falou DK.
Não, o DK vai ser DPS.
Ah, entendi.
Tá, agora eu tenho que entender como é que funciona esse Stronger.
Tô pensando o que eu quero fazer, porque eu tô muito só curtindo relaxar, ficar de bobeira, tá ligado? Hoje eu tô tá tão gostosinho. Mas eu quero jogar um pouquinho também, só não sei o que eu quero jogar exatamente. Você viu que eu te falei do No Man's Sky?
Sim.
Mano, eles simplesmente adicionaram, construa sua nave aí. Eu falei, caralho, que irado, mano. Nossa, me coçou de voltar, mas não é o suficiente pra eu voltar e jogar pra valer. Mas seria maneiro, tipo, foi quase que o suficiente, mas, mano, eu quero entrar e fazer minha nave, tá ligado? Quero fazer uma nave, sabe? Porra, maneiro.
Pra mim não foi nada demais isso daí. Sinceramente falando.
Porra,
Achei bem, tipo. Tá. Já devia ter.
sim, mas não é uma coisa que... você pode até falar que é uma coisa que devia ter, mas é uma coisa que poucos jogos têm. Poucos jogos espaciais.
Fazer, ó, só. Como assim? Você...
Construir uma nave espacial inteira, totalmente customizável, não é qualquer jogo que tem, não. Eu não tô falando que o bagulho deles é perfeito, eu só tô falando que...
Porque é difícil ter matemática pra
É,
isso, né?
exato. Porque o gênero espacial é bem pequeno até. Não tem muita parada, né, mano? Ainda mais... E aí, pô, mas achei
Eu
maneiro, tá ligado? É uma coisa que não tem toda hora. Achei, porra, maneiro. Você pode, ó, pra ser justa, Starfield tem customização e build de nave, tá ligado? Mas, tipo, Starfield é Starfield. Eu nunca vou jogar Starfield.
Tem aquele outro lá que não, tipo, como é que é o nome? É Outer Worlds também.
Outer
Já
Worlds
fez
eu não
isso.
manjo muito, mas realmente eu não vi nada de Outer Worlds. Eu tenho ele, um dia eu vou pegar e jogar. Eu só nunca... É um jogo que eu tô, tipo, 100% tipo, por fora, tá ligado?
Caralho, calma aí que eu tenho que agora aprender a jogar com esse novo monge, velho.
Tá muito
Nossa, tem
diferente?
esse evocar Nilzão agora.
Tá muito diferente?
Tem
O
muito,
Demon
tem
Hunter
bastante
aqui,
botão.
um Demon Hunter Blood Off aqui já todo vestido de Void, com glaive de Void. Skin paga de ter comprado Midnight já, tudo de Void, tá ligado? O maluco já tá vivendo guloso. Não vai ter, nem vai jogar o guloso não, esse daí.
Imagina. Imagina se fosse. ele tá com muito botão, tipo, de usar rapidamente, tá ligado?
And begin to compulsively draw the symbols on any surface they can.
Clash.
Continued exposure makes most victims
Esse
erratic and
SC.
violent, but some are given clearer purpose, seeing in their demented scribblings a higher calling, the building of more markers, and the continued transmission of the signal. What is far more concerning, however, is
Dá
the
pra gente fazer
effect that the
transtemporal também
signal
pra tentar
has
dropar o item
on
da
the
raid.
dead.
É que time walking que tá rolando?
Olha, do Cataclisma.
Nossa, nem sei. Será que vai ter uns mog legal pra farmar?
Sempre tem.
Acho que as últimas duas que teve eu não curti as paradas que teve, mas acho que a terceira, tipo, antes, tá ligado? Teve uma que eu farmei um monte. Não é a terceira, né? Porque eu fiquei um tempo pra jogar, mas teve uma, acho que um pouquinho antes de eu parar de jogar, em Undermine, nossa, tem uns mods muito legal, que eu fiquei, tipo, uma tarde inteira fazendo uma porrada de dungeon time walking pra farmar moeda, pra comprar as paradas.
The same signal sequence that drives the living insane is a genetic imprint that reshapes the dead into something new. Necromorphs are, in my opinion, the ultimate sci-fi zombie, and they're my personal favorite. They combine the creative body horror of the Left 4 Dead infected with the foreboding alien vibe of the Flood, wrapping the whole in a gruesomely hellish aesthetic that mirrors some of the darker Resident Evil designs. They have elements of thrall, undead, infected, mutant, and parasite, and yet they are none of these things. That the necromorphs retain any semblance of their original forms is merely accidental. The boundaries of bodies mean little to them, and even cutting them down into pieces does not mean they will stop. In every portion of flesh is a newborn, mutated into existence by the thrumming chorus of the markers. A form without life, driven by a singular goal. To make us all whole again.
Nossa, eu vi uma leve review sobre o novo Jurassic World, acho que é Jurassic World ainda que chama, né? E eu já sabia que o filme ia ser uma merda. Mano, eu te juro que eu acho que eu devo ter visto o trailer, eu nem lembro do trailer. Porque eu já tô tão cansada de Jurassic World, tá ligado? Que tá, tipo, cada filme um pior que o outro. É incrível como cada filme foi cada vez pior. Talvez não astronomicamente pior um que o outro, mas nem o um é ok já. Eu nem gosto tanto do Jurassic World 1. Aí cada um depois dele foi, tipo, cada vez pior, tá ligado? Cada vez, tipo, 2 degraus pra baixo, 2 degraus atrás, tá ligado? Então, tipo, aí saiu, mano, o último...
Voltei.
Você tinha saído de novo, eu tô falando sozinho, eu não sabia que você saiu, mano. Tô falando que às vezes você fala que você sai e não sai sua
Não,
voz.
mas não é que não sai minha voz, é que você tá falando
Não,
e você não presta
não
atenção.
sai sua voz. Não sai sua voz. Eu tô falando, viu? Quando eu falo que a sua voz sai, você não acredita em mim.
Cara, mano, literalmente ninguém, absolutamente ninguém fala
Não é
que minha
possível.
voz tá falhando.
Eu escuto zero, nada. Não é possível. Eu te juro.
É porque você tá falando por cima, aí você não presta atenção.
Mano, não
Tô te
tem.
falando.
Não é
Olha a sua live, olha a sua live. Cadê a sua live? Pega o VOD aí dela. Coloca, sei lá, 1 minuto no passado aí. Falando por cima, aí você não presta atenção.
Zero.
É,
Voz sai no último.
coloca 1 minuto pra trás.
Aí cada. Jurassic World ainda que chama, né? E. Eu já sabia que o filme ia ser uma merda. Acho que eu.
Não, acho que esse...
Uma leve. Quero ver a última vez que você falou, pera.
Without life, into it mean they will
Aí você voltou
the
muito, não?
boundaries
Eu
of
quero
bodies mean
ouvir
little to
você
them,
falando.
and even cutting them down into mutated into existence
mas tá ouvindo
by
o
the
vídeo
thrum in every to them. Morphs related mutant resident of the flood combined fights on that
A gente nem tava em tal essa hora ali, eu acho.
the same
Calma assim, Ria. Tá vendo isso aqui?
Isso...
Calma. Isso é 2 minutos atrás, mano, calma.
Caralho, mas você tava ouvindo o vídeo enquanto eu tava falando?
foreboding alien vibe of the flood, wrapping the whole none of these
Não tá falando
things.
nada aqui.
That the necromorphs
A gente não
retain
tá falando
any
nada.
semblance of their original forms is by the throne.
Tá pegando o Discord, não tá? Tá. Nossa, eu vi uma leve review. Você tá falando aqui na frente?
Coloca, sei lá.
Sim, tá. Mano, tá vendo? Tá muito tempo sem você falar nada, velho. Tipo, eu não sabia nem que você tinha saído. É isso que eu tô falando. Aí eu comecei a só conversar, tá ligado? Porque eu achei que você tava aqui ainda.
Não, procura aí.
Eu não sei quando que
Driven
você falou
by a
que você
singular
saiu, eu não faço a
goal.
menor ideia.
A form tated into exist op. Inevitable to
Tudo
the
aí a
no
gente tava
form of
falando.
these. The foreboding old
Não foi 2 minutos.
Eu fiquei antes de eu parar de jogar em
Foi 1
Undermine.
minuto.
Que nossa, tem uns mods muito legal. Que eu fiquei tipo uma tarde inteira.
Foi tipo assim uns 40 segundos, tá ligado?
Fazendo uma porrada e um monte. Teve um uns mod legal pra farmar.
Sempre tem.
Acho que as últimas duas que teve eu não curti as paradas que teve, mas acho que a terceira, tipo, antes, tá ligado? Teve uma que eu farmei um monte. Não é a terceira, né? Porque eu fiquei um tempo pra jogar, mas teve uma, acho que um pouquinho antes de eu parar de jogar, em Undermine, nossa, tem uns mods muito legal, que eu fiquei, tipo, uma tarde inteira fazendo uma porrada de dungeon time walking pra farmar moeda, pra comprar as paradas. Aqui foi a última vez que você falou, pra mim. Eu vou ver tudo, eu vou até baixar um pouquinho porque o vídeo tá, mas eu vou prestar atenção. Eu não vi mais você falar nada, só que aí eu comecei a conversar ali porque eu achei que você tava aqui ainda. Só que você não tava falando nada, eu não
The same signal sequence
Mas eu
that
vou ouvir
drives
tudo.
the living insane is a genetic imprint that reshapes the dead into
Não, quando eu
something
fui descer, você tava falando.
new.
Então, você ouviu alguma coisa você falar já volta? Eu não ouvi.
É, no seu vídeo eu não vi não,
Eu tô
mas...
Por que eu vou mentir disso? Eu sei.
Não,
eu
eu
sei.
não tô falando que você tá mentindo, eu sou psicopata.
Eu sei que
Eu tô
eu sou
falando que
distraída.
você tem algum... mano, ninguém fala que meu microfone
Eu tô ligada,
funciona
e eu
alguma
sei que
coisa.
teve aquele dia que você perguntou pra você falar que eu vi, mas... velho, então, pra mim, no meu fone tem quase sempre, falo toda vez, mas quase sempre que do nada você sai, porque... Quantas vezes acontece que você do nada fala, voltei e falei, caralho, eu tô falando aqui sozinha. Não é loucura minha, tá ligado? Eu tô tipo... Mano... Tá ligado? Não é loucura minha, mano. Às vezes só, mano, eu não tô te culpando, só falando, eu não sabia que você saiu, só, mas não deve ter saído, tá ligado?
Sim. Caralho, mano, tem um monte de cooldown de 2 minutos aqui. E agora?
Agora mama, né, mano? Então, eu tava falando do Jurassic World, que eu comecei a falar do nada. Que eu vi uma review do filme recente. E aí eu comentei que eu devo ter assistido o trailer. Eu acho. Só que eu tô tão broxada da franquia, porque desde o primeiro World, tá ligado? Eu já achei ele ok, é tipo, ok, é maneiro, whatever, tá ligado? Não é nada demais, é tipo, maneiro, legal. E só que, na minha opinião, cada filme de Jurassic World 2, 3, sei lá, tem 4 agora, eu acho, né? Cada um foi pior que o outro. Não necessariamente por um tipo, esse é horrível. Não, quer dizer, eles são horríveis. Mas é tipo, não é tipo, cada um é tipo extremamente pior que o outro. Mas todos parece que é tipo gradativamente pior. Gradativamente mais preguiçoso, tá ligado? Gradativamente mais merda. Mano, foi o primeiro em muito tempo. Que até o Dominion eu ouvi depois de um tempo. Não muito tempo depois que saiu. E eu vi e me arrependi. Porque eu falei, nossa, que filme sem graça. Que filme nada a ver. Nada faz sentido. Tem uma porrada de cena péssima. Tem uma porrada de cena que não teria como acontecer, sabe? Foi um filme ruim. Eu falei, caralho, que filme ruim. E aí anunciaram esse Rebirth. Mano, eu nem lembro de ter visto o trailer. Porque tava totalmente, tipo, não quero ver, tá ligado? Tipo, vai continuar sendo uma bosta. Porque continua sendo uma bosta. Aí eu vi um review falando, mano. Falei, caralho, ainda bem que eu não perdi tempo da minha vida pra ver esse pedaço de cocô fumegante. Que eles conseguem fazer o filme ser cada vez mais raso, mais sem sentido nenhum e mais sem graça e repetitivo. Mano, I shit you not. Adivinha qual que é o plot? Só tenta adivinhar do plot de Jurassic World 4. O plot. Assim, resumidamente, sabe?
Mutação genética nos dinossauros.
Já acertou uma parte do plot. Adivinha a próxima. Aonde se passa o filme?
Onde se passa?
Aonde que se passa o filme? E que tem um dinossauro mutado.
No Jurassic Park.
Não num parque, mas numa outra ilha, que era uma parada de pesquisa onde eles faziam mutações de dinossauros que a gente não sabia até agora. Ou seja, eles inventaram outra ilha do nada, pra voltar aí pra ilha. E no filme tem uma família de pessoas e com duas crianças e um casal, sei lá, duas crianças, três crianças, tá ligado? Sei lá, deve ter um adolescente e duas pequenas, whatever. Tem crianças. E que tá tipo. Tá aí no mar, aí acidentalmente acaba, tipo, encalhando por
Grita,
causa dos
grita.
dinossauros, tá ligado? E aí agora tem
Aham.
essa família presa na ilha. E aí tem um grupo de mercenários que tá indo fazer uma missão lá que não tem. Tem uma das motivações mais rasas e merdas possíveis, óbvio, pra ir pra ilha. E eles também acabam ficando presos na ilha. Aí o filme vira, olha, tem dois grupos de
Calma,
pessoas
calma,
presos na
peraí.
ilha.
Peraí, só um segundo, calma, calma. Você tá gritando muito. Eu não tô conseguindo. O seu fone estoura quando você grita.
O ponto é. Aí tem. Fica dois grupos diferentes de pessoas, um de mais profissional e um mais de família, presos na
Uhum.
ilha por causa dos dinossauros. E agora eles têm que escapar da ilha. E a
Eu vi
galera.
uma foto só que era tipo um bicho totalmente modificado.
É, ele mesmo. Tá, mas que ele tem um cabeção?
Ah, sei lá, é um bicho totalmente modificado geneticamente, horrível.
É, mano. Não, tipo,
O
é
design
maneiro
dele
ver
já é
um
péssimo.
dinossauro diferenciado, mas tipo, o ponto é, mano, quantas mais vezes eles vão fazer isso? Tá ligado? E quase todas as vezes eles já não fizeram bem. O ponto não é tipo, não quero ver mais dinossauros. Não, tipo, não tem problema com ver um dinossauro diferenciado, um monstro, né? Não é nem um dinossauro, é um monstro. Mas tipo, eles não fazem bem. Os filmes são ruins. Os filmes são objetificamente ruins, tá ligado? E aí, tipo, whatever que tem um
Sim.
dinossauro modificado. Ah, mais um dinossauro modificado em mais uma ilha que não existia, que agora existia. E mais um grupo de mercenários sendo pagos por uma corporação que quer o sangue dos dinossauros pra fazer dinheiro e curar doenças cardíacas que não tem nada a ver com nada. Ninguém tem. A personagem principal, a mãe dela, tinha uma doença cardíaca e morreu. Então ela não tem nenhuma motivação do tipo, ah, minha mãe está morrendo de doença cardíaca, vou salvar ela. Não, eu vou lá pelo dinheiro e talvez ajude a galera que tá aí com doença cardíaca também, né? Essa é a motivação da personagem principal. E aí tá todo mundo preso na ilha, aí eles têm que, ah não, fudeu, estamos presos na ilha de dinossauros que os dinossauros escaparam porque deu tudo errado. Nossa, que novidade, né? E sabe o que isso me lembra? Jurassic Park 2 ou 3, eu nunca lembro qual que é, mas você lembra que tem o Jurassic Park? Que tem uma família que tem uma galera que é tipo, meio que se perde na ilha. E aí uma outra galera vai lá procurar e é meio que dois grupos, que é tipo a família e o grupo de profissionais presos da ilha e agora eles têm que escapar da ilha juntos. É
O primeiro.
literalmente o que eles acabaram de fazer.
Ah, o primeiro?
Não, não o primeiro. Tem um que
Ah,
é.
o primeiro não é o que ele fica preso, é um moleque que fica
Esse não
perdido
é o
lá e
primeiro.
tal.
Esse não é o primeiro parque. Esse é o segundo ou o terceiro, é que eu nunca lembro a ordem, mas não é o primeiro. O primeiro é o classicão, o primeiro é ótimo. Inclusive eu nem acho isso tão bom. Ele é maneiro, não, ele é maneiro, ele é da hora, é gostoso. Mas tipo, ele é o mesmo plot. Feito quase que identicamente. Só que extremamente mais mal feito, tá ligado? Mano, é impressionante, cara. Cara, é impressionante como eles conseguiram cavar uma cova gigantesca em cada filme, mano. Nossa.
Uhum.
Péssimo, péssimo, péssimo. Fico triste, cara. Eu gosto de dinossauros, tá ligado? Eu gostava de Jurassic Park. De novo, eu achei o Jurassic World ok, tá ligado? Eu achei, porra, maneiro, mas dá pra melhorar. Cada filme é pior que o outro, mano. Impressionante.
I've recently
É, isso é triste.
Caralho, mano, é muito feio, mano. Muito feio. E detalhe, a única coisa que eles poderiam fazer certo. De novo, a maior parte que eu tô falando de dando insight do filme é porque eu vi esse review, porque eu não vi o filme. E eu não quero nem ver, tá ligado? Eles não conseguiram. Nesse filme, eles não conseguiram nem fazer cenas legais de dinossauro. Eles conseguiram até errar nisso, nesse, ou seja, sabe, cada filme é dois passos atrás. Nem cena de dinossauro boa teve. Foram uns bagulho extremamente tipo, mal utilizado, tá ligado? Super raso, super os outcome mais predictable possível, menos super tipo, ah, beleza, nada aconteceu. E de novo, crianças e pessoas que a gente tem certeza que, mesmo que eles estão lidando contra, tipo, organismos, não falar perfeitos, né? Isso é exagerar, mas organismos extremamente evoluídos e predatórios e perigosos, tá ligado? Que só a única opção é correr, nada vai acontecer com as crianças e com a família. Você sabe o filme inteiro que ninguém vai nem sequer se machucar, tá ligado? Então, tipo, mano. E aí, em cima disso, não tem nem cenas divertidas, tá ligado? Tipo, os caras conseguem fazer um pedaço fumegante de cocô assim, tá ligado? Eu não sei, mano, mas é impressionante.
Mano, não tem mais como você purificar o bagulho manualmente. What?
Não sei o que você tá falando.
De monge. Você não tem aquele botão de ficar purificando tomando cerveja.
Ah, é? Que brisa.
Acho que meio que agora é automático, hã? Oxi.
Tipo, teve uma cena. Isso me incomodou. É bem no começo do filme. Foi a cena que ele mais mostrou. Tem toda uma cena com mosassauros, da hora, com um barco, meio que perseguindo o mosassauros, tentando tirar o sangue dele. A coisa mais interessante que rolou entre uma cena com mosassauros, que por sinal nos filmes do Jurassic Park é extremamente maior do que a vida real. Não que eles não eram grandes na vida real, mas ele é extremamente exagerado no Jurassic.
Mas aí a coisa mais icônica do Jurassic Park é o Velociraptor. O Velociraptor é
Exato,
um bichinho pequenininho.
exato. Tipo, na verdade é porque eles só nomearam errado, né? Porque o que eles criaram no filme.
É, tem um bichinho pequenininho que é o... Era pra ser o Velociraptor, né?
Não isso.
É,
O Velociraptor, na franquia, eles basicamente recriaram o Utahraptor. Que é uma espécie
sim,
de
sim, eu tô
Velociraptor.
ligado. E aquele... E
Não tem muito,
aquele...
não tem
E
uma.
aqueles... Tem, aparece uma parte que aparece uns pequenininhos, sim.
Mas,
É o Velociraptor
mas
aqui.
você tá sendo muito genérico. Eu não lembro de ter visto o que eu.
Tem uma parte que aparece uns bem
Mas,
pequenininhos, que são os
ok, eu quero saber de
Velociraptorzinhos.
qual
Deixa eu
filme.
terminar de
Eu
falar,
quero saber de qual
calma.
filme! Pra eu
Então
ver.
deixa eu terminar de falar,
Tá, fala
cara!
então.
Que é o filme que, no começo do filme, literalmente mostra uma criança andando no meio do mato. Aí ela começa a seguir uns Velociraptorzinho. E aí, de repente, tá. De repente, junta um monte na criança e os caras afasta.
Esse é o filme que eu tava comentando, que é o da. Que tem os dois grupos, que esse novo parece que é tipo uma cópia pior dele. É esse. E isso que você tá pensando não é os Velociraptors. Aquilo é um dinossauro que existe, é daquele tamanho, ele é um Compignatus. Ele é uma coisa real, ele é acurado. Eu não lembro. Deve ter tido, mas realmente, talvez nos novos. Mas em nenhum dos antigos tem nada que pareça um Velociraptor de verdade. Que é um. Que seria. Tipo, se você pensar um Velociraptor mesmo, tipo, é bem icônico, mas realmente não. É muito feio. Velociraptor. E eu vou puxar a cena. Tipo, eles são uma vibe assim, ó. Pequenininhos, tá ligado? A gente já tem confirmado que eles tinham penas, tá ligado? Provavelmente planavam de um lado pro outro, meio que o que esquilos fazem, tá ligado? Provavelmente. E eles eram isso aqui, ó. Uma vibe assim, pequenos, tipo assim, do nosso calcanhar, da nossa canela de tamanho, tá ligado? O que eles fizeram nos filmes, que eles chamam de Velociraptor, lembra isso aqui, que a gente também já sabe que era penado, tá ligado? Só que o filme é antigo, né? Jurassic Park. Na época que saiu Jurassic Park, a gente não tinha essa informação, tá ligado? De dinossauros penados. Mas o que eles basicamente fazem, pelo tamanho, o burro que o bagulho, é um Utahraptor. Ou até um Compiraptor, Omniraptor. Opa. Omniraptor, ó. Só que isso aqui é do jogo, eu não sei, eu queria ver um mais. Não do jogo. Mas é similar, tá ligado? Que é outro que seria do tamanho parecido. Um Raptor do tamanho parecido, tá ligado? E esse que você tá pensando, que é o Compignatus, é isso aqui, ó. Que eu... Ah, eu lembrei o nome certo. Não. É isso aqui. Compsognathus, quase lembrei isso aí. Compsognathus. Que é esse bichinho aqui, ó. Inclusive, ó, é essa cena aqui, ó, que você lembrou, que é a que eu vou puxar The Lost World de Jurassic Park. Compsognathus, vai, não sei o que. Que é essa por Jurassic Park The Lost World. Olha eles aqui. Cadê a criancinha? Aqui, na praia. Aqui, ó. Não é essa cena que você lembrou? Alô? Alô? Ah,
Vendo.
aqui, ó.
9 do 9 do mercado.
Mas não são
livre.
Velociraptors.
Frete
Eu não
grátis e
tenho
muito
memória de ter
mais.
tido algo que pareça um Velociraptor de verdade na franquia. Que é o que eu mostrei antes. Mas eles são compugnatos, eles existem mesmo.
What are you? Is it bird or something?
E é desse filme que também que eu tava comentando.
Are you hungry?
Ah, não, eu não acho que é desse, acho que eu tô confundindo, mas é.
It's
Que
good.
eu acho que esse é outro plot.
Come on, I won't
Tô
hurt
brisando.
you. Mommy!
É que eu nunca lembro qual que é a sequência, eu sempre confundo qual que é o 2 e qual que é o 3, às vezes eu confundo algumas cenas um com o outro, tá
Are you
ligado?
looking at this? I'm afraid there is
Esse eu acho que é o que eles vão pra ilha catar os dinossauros e levar os dinossauros, mas aí pode ser que eu só tô lembrando errado de novo, nunca lembro, mano. De qual filme é essa cena?
to go around.
Não tô achando o Taunt. Tá fora mesmo. Nossa, ainda tem mais o Taunt. Que pariu.
Nerdei em dinossauros agora, fala aí.
Hum?
Nerdei com os dinossauros, fala aí.
É. Eu tô vendo. Tô tentando achar Celestial Brill. Tá. Qual que é a Celestial Brill?
Been feeling a lot like how I imagine ancient Mayan culture felt when they first gazed upon the
Isso aqui
stars
substitui
and
de alguma
thought to
forma?
themselves, there's something else out there. I've been on the cusp of a big discovery, one that I've found a deep appreciation for, and I'm only just now learning the intricacies of. And that is SpongeBob horror games. It is a fascinating genre I didn't even know existed in this capacity until only like a month or so ago, when I played one on a whim for my gaming channel, and now I'm hooked on them. I just want to kind of put these on your radar because I have been having a lot of fun playing SpongeBob horror games for some reason. Granted, on my gaming channel, I have been playing a ton of horror games, but probably my favorites
Tá
so
dropando
far are the
6, 5,
SpongeBob
5
themed ones. I can't wait to see
temporal.
all four. I
Suave.
imagine one of them is a cease and desist from Nickelodeon or something, perhaps. No, I don't do that.
Cara, eu não tô entendendo mais como tá funcionando esse monge.
Lacrei sobre dinossauro ao vivo. Eu gosto de dinossauros, né, mano? Fazer o quê? Eles são tão legais. Dinossauros é um dos poucos tópicos que eu ativamente fui. Eu saí, tipo, fui procurar mais conhecimento sobre. Só pra ficar curioso sobre alguma espécime. Eu gosto.
Mano, eu vou te falar um bagulho, hein? O monge tá bem mais da hora, velho. Peneta 12% da
Eu quero
armadura.
upar um
Tipo,
monge, mas se eu for upar, eu vou provavelmente fazer em remix. Mas é uma das coisas que eu tô curioso de ver. Inclusive, paleontologia foi, tipo, uma das minhas classes favoritas na faculdade. Nossa, queria ter. E foda que no ano que eu entrei na faculdade, ela foi reduzida. Ela tinha mais, tá ligado? Sobre os caralhos, mas eu só tive um semestre. Que tristona.
você é louco.
Que foi muito
Sabe
irado.
como é que o monge. Mas sabe como é que o monge tá tancando agora?
Como?
Basicamente? A existência dele é tancar. Tipo, literalmente, você não tem mais botões de mitigar o dano que você tá tomando. Agora você recebe 70% a mais de cura, baseado no seu crítico.
Oxi.
Ou seja, se um healer te curava 1 milhão, ele vai te curar 1
Aham.
milhão e 700 mil. Ele não tem essas paradas de tirar mais a mitigação, porque simplesmente ele virou um tanque de você esquivar de ataques.
Esquivar de ataques?
A maior parte dos ataques não pega em você.
Entendi. É, não sei. Sei, estranho. Estranho, porque é diferente, não sei. Você tá falando que tá maneiro?
Purifying Stagger Damage Increase Absorber. A única parada agora é o Celestial Infusion, que é uma cerveja. Que ela é uma cerveja de ervas, que com ela é esse purificado
Sponsored by
X escapando do seu
Squarespace.
corpo. Basicamente absorve 30% do dano recebido até 1 milhão de dano no total. É...
É uma cerveja de ervas, é?
Se você tiver... Se você tiver com muito... Se você tiver com uma quantidade de stag, usar isso daqui vai fazer com que a absorção do dano que você recebe aumenta em, tipo, 400%. Ele virou literalmente um tanque de fazer os caras errarem as paradas. E de você trabalhar em volta do Nilzal, tá ligado? O boi.
Aham. É, não sei, porque a única vez que eu joguei com ele era em Shadowlands e eu gostava de como ele funcionava lá, né? Mas isso já faz muito tempo. Não sei dizer o que eu acho disso.
Purify.
Shadowlands happened. I'm sorry to remind you it did, but it did, and for many of us, it broke Warcraft's lore, and we've talked about its failures to death. There's no denying that Shadowlands happened, that it's canon, but Blizzard are actually trying to fix that. But how do you deal with a problem like Shadowlands? Do you just ignore it? Do you quietly forget about it? Well, that's one option, but here's another approach. To take the bits that did work, and then
Nossa,
to
é
run
muito
with it.
rápido, cara. Doideira, velho.
And also to, in a book, retcon some of the most disastrous things. And that's what we're seeing in the game right now, because patch 11.2 has brought back some of the best, it's quietly forgotten the worst, and when we picked up Chronicle Volume 4 and did a little bit of reading, we've even seen a few things be retconned. But going in-game, we see Venari is back. She's seamlessly picked up from where she left off. It's pretty slick. The brokers have been given an origin that disconnects them from the Shadowlands and reconnects them to the actual game world that we do care about. And then some of the deeper mysteries, like Anima, Devourers, and the first ones, well, they have been reintroduced in a way that does not break the lore, because some of those things are no longer what we thought they were during Shadowlands, and I mean that in a good way. So, the question today is simple. Are Blizzard saving the Shadowlands lore? Or, should I say, saving World of Warcraft from the Shadowlands lore? Whenever people send me things, first impressions count. And that's where today's sponsor Squarespace can let you make that strong first impression so you actually get through to the people you want to get through to. And today, they're easier, faster, and less fictitious than anyone else, and that's all because of the new way that you build a site. And I'll walk you through it. So first, Blueprint guides you through making your own template, and this really is amazing. It helps you select what pages you want, what fonts are best, what color palette to use, and by them, of course, doing the hard work of curating all of those and making it all just work, they keep you right. And that also extends to them adding new features. You can sell digital and physical products, there's courses, there's bookings for physical and digital, and there's even native video. Yes, native, not just an embed. Which basically just means it looks and feels way better and way more pro. Now, it's all designed to work together, and rather than be a bunch of cobbled together features with inconsistent design, it's actually seamless and professional, so that your customers actually have a great first impression, which is what you want. And whenever they convert, well, you have seamless buying with Squarespace payments. They really are the complete package, everything that you need, and by following my link, squarespace.com/BallyTheirGaming, you get to build your site for free. And then when you're ready to send it live, my code, BallyTheirGaming, gets you 10% off your first purchase of a site or domain. We just watched Venari rock up to Soulscribe. She had the essence of Koresh in her hand, a literal part.
Ok, o que tem? Eu dei risada, o que foi?
Não, nada, não dá pra escutar a sua voz.
Eu tenho alcance! Yeah! Correndo atrás do raro, mano. Eu não tenho alcance pra dar hit nele.
Pega Smash 200, caralho.
Yes! Dropei o pet. Top. Falta só um pet. E... Falta um pet de raro.
De raro?
Uhum. De drop, tá ligado?
Of her planet's world soul, and it looked quite familiar. It looked like something that we would see in Zereth Mortis. Sorry to trigger you, just maybe a bit more purple. But that got me thinking. Venari's back, Devourers are in play again alongside the Brokers. But how far are they going to take it? Are they still saying that World Souls are connected to the First Ones, whatever the First Ones may be? Of course, the First Ones being that piece of Shadowlands lore so controversial that it made us question everything we thought we knew about the setting. In a bad way. And if you aren't sure what a Shadowlands era First One was, well, we never met them, but basically, they were kinda like the Pantheon god people that came before all the other god people that we've known. To people, it wasn't that satisfying. Now, you could say it's a little bit like, say, you got the first generation of Greek deities, and then the second generation of Greek deities, but it just didn't work in World of Warcraft. Then I went a little bit deep, and that's when I realized something. The first ones have been quietly retconned, yes, and the Jailer's final warning has been gutted. And the upshot of this is so much of the overcomplicated cosmic stuff has been brought down to ground, where it's finally understandable. And that's when I realized that they are basically saving what they can from the Shadowlands in a way that's positive for the health of the game. But let's set the scene. For anyone who may not know why Shadowlands is so very controversial, I'll put a fine point on it. Better still, I'll let Blizzard do it for me. Check out this panel from GDC 2023. First problem, the Afterlife setting wasn't accessible. Second problem, the new antagonist wasn't developed. That new antagonist was the Jailer. Finally, well-known story heroes were diminished. Looking at you, Arthas, Garrosh, Ner'zhul, Kel'Thuzad, and many more. So, as of 2023, we see that Blizzard are aware. But like I said, they obviously can't just ignore it, especially when things happened to characters, like say Anduin, that simply cannot be undone. Let's see how they've actually pulled this off. We've only been back to the Shadowlands a few times since that horrible expansion ended. In the Blood Elf Heritage chain, we went to Maldraxxus and Bastion. Why? Well, it was to find ways of making sure that Scourge souls
tá
stayed
aqui. Ué,
dead.
mas não tá mostrando
And
que tá
it's
fora
really
da
all
minha
light
barra,
touch
isso aqui.
stuff. We kind of go to the Shadowlands, but not really that much, and the bad bits of the Shadowlands aren't really dealt with. But then, of course, Anduin came back, and we knew it was coming. But here's the problem. He was still
Pô, pior que eu falei merda, hein,
fundamentally,
Liv?
totally traumatized.
Ok.
Ainda tem a cerveja de purificar, sim. Nossa, mais um botão. Meu Deus. Bro, tá com muito botão. O rasteiro.
Sabe uns jogos que eu gostava muito?
Forasteiro. Hã?
Sabe uns jogos que eu gostava muito?
Hum.
Esses que você tem vários, né? Esses ponto .io, que é, sei lá, baseado você em alguma
Ah,
coisa, você
sim.
coisa fica comendo e crescendo, às vezes você é um animal e muda, dá saudade de jogar esses jogos, mano, era muito legal.
É, eu ainda jogo muito jogo Idle, que hoje são os jogos experimentais também. Jogo muito.
Ah, eu nunca consegui ficar muito em idle, eu acho ficar repetitivo e entediante muito rápido.
Hã?
Eu nunca consegui ficar muito tempo em jogo assim, porque eu sempre acho que, cara, fica repetitivo muito rápido e enjoa demais, mano.
Depende do Idle.
É, não sei. Então, eu tô falando, de todos que eu joguei, eu nunca me prendi em nenhum por muito tempo.
By a Shadowlands arc. It's hard to ignore that, and for a character like him, it's kind of right to be traumatized by that. Seriously, it was pretty damn horrible. The Calling short story then comes in and does a great job of showing his journey toward healing those wounds. Then we joined him in Kazalgar, where Faerun reintroduced him to the light. It's obviously been a while since then. At last we heard he was well on his way to rehabilitation. That will mean we will have a post-Shadowlands fixed up Anduin. But it's not enough to rehab Anduin, but it also had to rehab the overall Warcraft setting. And that brings us to the world of Koresh, the homeworld of the Ethereals, introduced into the game with the Burning Crusade, but it's also now where the brokers have came from. Now, we long speculated that the brokers and Ethereals shared a connection. It was quite obvious visually. They both had cartels, they were traders, kind of looked similar. Now we know that they were another group of Koreshi who escaped their planet's destruction. Essentially, some fled into the Twisting Nether, they would be the Ethereals we met in TBC, others crafted containment suits and fled into the Shadowlands. And that's why Tazavesh was in between the realms of the Shadowlands. Basically, they were refugees hiding out in the cracks of reality. Tazavesh itself, well, it's been revealed as one of the city-states that existed on Koresh, where it was ruled by this guy, Bilal, a name that may be familiar to the mages and priests listening because he was in your artifact quests back in Legion. Now, you can see how they're weaving the bits of Shadowlands that worked into the long-established lore, and doing that with characters we're familiar with. It's a satisfying reintroduction for the brokers, but the pinnacle of it is, of course, the one character that we can all agree rocked during Shadowlands, and that is Venari. The Maw was supposed to be the most brutal place in reality, one inspired by Dark Souls, and heading there, Hiding in a cave, we found Venari. We traded her mountains of Stygia, and in return she taught us her rules of survival. She seemed a bit paranoid, a bit unhinged. Then, much later, in Zereth Mortis, she found a way to escape the Shadowlands, and she even faked her own death. Strange enough end to a quirky character. But what was she actually doing there? Well, we can now look at the results. She returned to Koresh, and she used the massive wealth that she had gathered, partially via us, to set up the ecodomes. The ultimate one being Aldani. And at the end of that process, well, she brought her world back to life. And when that happens, she explains that the Maw was the closest thing to Koresh that she could find in the universe, and if she could understand it, she could save her world. I don't really know what she means, but whatever, it basically works. I'm willing to let that slide. The Shadowlands didn't explain Venari's motivations, though. She was just there as a mystery. In fact, the brokers were just these hyper-mysterious dudes who liked to trade. We knew they gathered knowledge, wealth, and technology, but we did not know why. Seems like a fundamental flaw of that expansion storytelling. But now it's clear they were working towards one day going home, back to Koresh. And with how Blizzard have handled it, it's natural, it's smooth, they haven't needed to be smashed back into the lore. It feels natural. Now, Venari is still scheming and sarcastic. She still plays her cards close to her chest. But we now know she was trying to save what was left of Koresh. So it's an evolution of the Shadowlands lore that fits. Now, she references the past. She calls us Mawwalker, savior of Koresh, after we downed Demencius, so she remembers. We remember, and you know what? It doesn't suck. A lot of other bits of Shadowlands did, but these bits basically didn't. Narratively, anyway. I don't think anyone really enjoyed the Maw. But she's not the only thing back from the Shadowlands. We also see the Devourers, and they are now at the bottom of the food chain. It's no coincidence that we fight Demencius the All-Devouring in a patch where the Devourers from Shadowlands show up. Something important is happening here. Check out this text on this patch 11.2 mount. When one cosmically invasive threat meets another, sometimes the smaller ends up on the menu of the larger, which really does put the Devourers in their place. Because once upon a time, they were the first hints at a massive cosmic conflict, one that has been quietly retconned out of the lore, and that is what is to come. Something that basically turned into a bit of a meme in the community. Because as the jailer died, that is what he warned us about. You know, a cosmos divided cannot stand against what is to come. That was the beginning of an arc under the game's then creative director that it seems will never see the light of day. And that was an arc that basically was zooming out in the cosmos. But of course, in doing that, it meant that was kind of saying that the things that we had cared about, that we actually liked about the Warcraft setting, were no longer nearly as important in the Warcraft setting, meaning that it just diluted the Warcraft setting. A lot of work has actually been done in the background, because now Blizzard are landing the most controversial aspects of the Shadowlands lore. They're fixing it. Remember this guy, Fareem? He was mad. He's the one who kept telling us that we were idiots for not understanding his First One's lore. Well, turns out he was the idiot the entire time, because that stuff has just been dropped. In Chronicle Volume 4, we get some key insights. Remember, Chronicle Volume 4 came out last year, so firmly not in that sordid era of Warcraft writing. One of the things in Chronicle 4 that is changed, or recontextualized, is the Jailer's warning. He said we wouldn't be able to fend off what is to come, but he never really told us what he thought was to come. And now, as it turns out, he did not know what was to come. It's quite interesting. Chronicle explains something here. While Zoval was the arbiter of the Shadowlands, so before he got trapped in the Maw and was a big bad guy, he glimpsed into countless mortal souls, and he kinda just felt that something bad was coming. No name, no definition, just bad vibes. So yeah, bad vibes were to come. Now, he tried to tell the other Eternal Ones about all these bad vibes, but they basically said, it's probably all part of the First One's plan. Don't worry about it. Zoval then, kicked off all of his jailer stuff. He had a big old civil war in the afterlife, and then he was trapped in the Maw until we turned up. Now, it makes his motivations as a villain worse, but it does stop the setting from being held back by some random cosmic threat, which is good. But you just heard me say the First Ones, and that's the big thing. The First Ones. The Titans of the Titans, the guys who built the universe. I mean, even looking at stuff that was First One's architecture, it clearly appeared to be in the same lineage as that of the Titans. Well, here's where Chronicle does a slight change that's big. Instead of the first ones being the gods of the gods, now, canonically, the first ones are just a myth. They are just a myth that people in the Shadowlands believe. Something that they think is true, but that may not necessarily be true. And that pokes holes in the foundations of the Shadowlands lore. And it does so in a way that means we can just kind of forget that they existed. We can
Caralho, os First Ones Shadowlands virou. Agora foi tomar um retcon de ser um bagulho pra valer, pra ser só um mito que a galera de Shadowlands acredita.
O quê?
Os First Ones do Shadowlands, que eles ficam falando, os First Ones, a galera que criou tudo e tal. Agora de alguns livros, umas paradas novas que saiu, tá ligado? Eles deram retcon nisso pra ser só um mito que a galera de Shadowlands acredita ser verdade, mas que é um mito. Tipo, não é um bagulho de verdade.
Ah, então não existe
Não
mais.
existe mais.
Entendi.
Os caras Shadowlands. Shadowlands, esquece Shadowlands, que Shadowlands? Que espada? Não é mesmo?
Mas foi muito louco quando a Sylvanas olhou pra todo mundo e falou: Eu sou o Shadowlands.
Ela falou
Essa
isso.
parte aí foi cinema.
Eu não lembro disso, não. Ela não fala, eu sou o Iron Man?
Ela fala: Eu sou Shadowlands. Aí ela abre a porta pra o Enizote e a gente tava sonhando. Na verdade, foi só uma piada de mau gosto.
chalk it up to a weird myth that people in the afterlife believe about how stuff works. Now, you could probably rationalize this. You could maybe say, well, perhaps it is the Titans who actually went and did something in the Shadowlands and then went off and did something else. And to the beings of the Shadowlands, those Titans are called the First Ones, and they never understood the difference. Or something like that. Could be the case. But basically, all of that huge, suffocating lore has been cut. And that leaves the future wide open. Okay, so we got retcons, recontextualizations, and reintroductions. It's clear that Blizzard are doing some heavy goddamn lifting to rehabilitate the Shadowlands, but that's actually not the end. Looking to the future, there's a big opportunity to do the same thing for other characters. Sargeras is back in The Last Titan. Almost certainly, right? But here's the thing with Sargeras. It was almost certainly a character from the Shadowlands who engineered Sargeras' downfall in the first place. That character is Sire Denathrius, the sire of the Dreadlords. The Dreadlords being the group who basically psyoped Sargeras into turning into, well, Sargeras, the bad guy that we know. Of course, Sire Denathrius escaped justice in the end, and he has been sulking about with his Nathrezim ever since. So, if we're and he has been sulking we know. Of course, Sire Denathrius escaped justice in the end, and he has been sulking about with his Nathrezim ever since. So, if we're going to see a change in Sargeras, we'll have to get to the bottom of why he went over the edge, and that would be a perfect time to reintroduce Denathrius and make him face some consequences. Nothing here is set in stone, but it does illustrate how we can't just ignore the Shadowlands lore, because unfortunately, it did actually happen, and this isn't like in, say, comic books where we can just go and do a full reboot. Hard to do that in a big live game. So instead, Blizzard have got surgical. They're willing to do the work to reintroduce the bits that were good and to fix the stuff that essentially broke the lore. And that means we'll never see a return of its biggest themes or perhaps its mysteries. Don't expect the Primus to pop out in The Last Titan to slap some sense into Aman'Thul. No, that won't happen. But do expect to see little bits from the Shadowlands, but done in a way that makes sense. So, with that said, tell me what you think down below. I'm sure that this is something we'll be debating for quite a long time indeed. And while a lot of this stuff has been fixed up pretty quickly, yeah, Koresh has been a little bit of a hard left turn, especially for some of the people who expected the War Within to more fully deal with Baladar, to fully go, within the planet and deal with the World Soul. But of course now it's clear that that is something set up for the World Soul saga instead, which probably will be better for the overall story. And if this has whetted your appetite, well, check out this breakdown of Koresh's deepest lore next. I think you'll get a big kick out of it, and it'll help you understand and enjoy a lot of 11.2 more.
Esta é sua configuração. E este é o seu navegador. E agora que você parou para pensar sobre isso, você tem que admitir, é um pouco...
Okay, next one is what ethnicity?
Caralho, eu fazendo aqui a... Eu fazendo aqui a... A transtemporal. Eu catei o item da época, não era transtemporal. What? Do boss. Acho que bugou o drop.
Não sei dizer. Nunca vi acontecer.
O quê? Ué?
Are you? This is, I think, the disastrous mirror that's about to be held up. We're revealing the results of the Wubby census. I'm very excited. I have not looked at the results yet, so I'm going in as blind as you are. Carlos put together a very sloppy, I've heard, chart. That's why I think Blizzard should like get in talks with Turtle WoW and make it official. Like that would be sick. But yeah, it's like, let's not get it twisted. You know, it's illegal what they're doing. So it's like, yeah, of course you're going to get sued if it gets too big. But not only that, Turtle WoW has run ads on YouTube and Instagram and like social media, like running ads for Turtle WoW. So they're like asking to get sued. They're partnering with content creators and streamers to play Turtle WoW and promote it. So they're like asking to get sued. And they are like tweeting, I believe, like tweeting at Blizzard and stuff. So they're like asking to get sued. They're like, hello, sue us. Like it's yeah. Anyway, this I found surprising. Turtle WoW was not backing down. This is the first part that I was like, oh. On Discord, they said Turtle WoW is here to stay, which is a pretty big claim to make when you're getting sued by a billion-dollar company. Challenges come to us often, and each time we're prepared to face them. To me, that's crazy. To me, that's a crazy claim to make. You're breaking the law, clearly. You're getting sued by a billion-dollar company, and you're saying, we're here to stay. Trillion-dollar company, sure. That's crazy. The Turtle WoW team appears to be widespread with, like, servers in the UK, Kazakhstan, and team members located across Russia, Bulgaria, Romania, and the Netherlands, which may pose challenges for Blizzard's lawsuit. Like, yeah, we'll see how that goes. If they're scattered across everywhere, maybe they just dodge it forever. I'm not exactly sure. Do we have any lawyers in the chat? Like, are we gonna ever be able to, like, pinpoint this? Like, does Blizzard actually... Can Blizzard actually get to the end of this? Or is it just gonna be this, like, constant... the marketing lead is from Michigan, though? If that's true, like, that guy's probably pretty screwed. Like, that guy's gonna get in some trouble, right? Like, if you're from the US, like, you're gonna get in trouble, like, real quick, I think. They're coming for the US-based ones? Yeah, so that, I mean, that'll be... IMO, they have a case. They've been active for years with no notices served. This could backfire tremendously in court if Blizzard decides they did not defend its patent. Okay, so if you let something go on for too long without defending your patent, you lose the ability to fight it because you kind of, like, didn't fight it initially. That's interesting. The only reason Blizzard's doing this is because Turtle WoW has gained a lot more popularity recently. If it wasn't for that, then they wouldn't care. I think the reason they're doing this is because Turtle WoW has kind of forced their hand. Like if you do a private server and like not a ton of people are playing and you're not running ads and you're kind of doing it low key, Blizzard kind of lets it slide. It's like, sure, whatever. But once you start trying to like mass market your game as a standalone game, like, hey guys, play our game, and you're marketing it and running ads for it, Blizzard's like forced to do something because of what Amber set up here. If you don't, then they lose their IP. So it's like, yeah, they literally have to do something at this point. People defending Turtle is something I don't get. I haven't seen anyone defend Turtle WoW. Do we have any Turtle WoW defenders in here? I'm just curious on your perspective. Status, thank you so much for the Prime, man. Me? Okay. So Turtle WoW defenders, I'm curious on your perspective. Like, if you think Turtle WoW has done nothing wrong, like, I'm curious on how or why you think that. Or is it just because you want Classic Plus so bad, you don't think Blizzard can deliver? Turtle WoW has delivered, so you're like, screw Blizzard, I want to play Turtle. Because, like, I see that perspective, but it's still against the law, right? I mean, but, okay, so if that's the perspective that people are taking, you have to still kind of concede to say, well, it's still illegal, but it's fun. Legally wrong, morally right. Okay, so that's kind of what people are saying. And it's like, yeah, it's against the law, but it's what we've all wanted. Blizzard has failed to deliver, so screw it. Like, I see. Yes, exactly that. Okay. I guess I follow that logic. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that logic. But I guess I'm following it like a little bit, right? I feel like they could fight better if their server wasn't Turtle World of Warcraft. Haha. I mean, it's still the same, like, world, though. I haven't played Turtle WoW, but I assume you still start in Elwyn Forest, and, like, the world is still there, but then they've expanded with new zones. Which is exactly what Blizzard needs to do, by the way. Like, exactly what Blizzard needs to do. Oh my gosh. I'm craving Classic Plus bad, guys. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I am craving it so bad. Like, I want to play Classic Plus more than anything. Like, it sounds awesome. People are just mad at Blizzard's hypocrisy.
Com o YouTube Premium, veja vídeos sem anúncios, offline e em segundo plano. E ouça música sem anúncios no app do YouTube.
So what do you mean by that exactly? Like people are asking for Classic Plus, they don't deliver, but they're banning the server that gives it to them. Is that what you mean by hypocrisy? It's illegal, but it's so well done. If Blizzard hired TWoW devs to their Classic Plus, the backlash would be minor. That's what I think they should do. That's what I've been saying for like a good year now. Maybe two years I've been saying this, is that Blizzard should hire the Turtle WoW devs because people clearly like it. They're creating a great product. Everyone wants it. I think a lot of people are hesitant to play, like myself, because they know eventually they're just going to get sued and like the servers could go down. So it's like, what's the point? But like people are craving this, right? I actually saw a take by Ampy. I don't know if I have the clip for this on hand, but Ampy made the claim that Classic Plus should have been delivered last year when Anniversary came out. Ampy basically said that Classic Plus should have been a finished, ready-to-go product and delivered by the time Anniversary servers came out last November. And I was thinking about that for a second, and I was like, okay, so Classic WoW came out in 2019. It did incredibly well, insanely well. TBC came out, and then Wrath came out, you know, with like 2-year spacing. I kind of agree with Ampy that like we saw this like craving for this Classic Plus for years now. They probably could have had something ready by the Anniversary servers, and that was, yeah, like it shouldn't be in production now. It should have probably launched last year. Having said that, the Blizzard Classic team, I think, is still trying to prove to their higher ups that this is a concept that enough of people want. Yeah, so we had SOD, right? We had SOD, and I think that kind of helped prove it to some degree. It's going to be announced at next BlizzCon. I think you're right. I think it's going to be announced at next BlizzCon. Now, the problem is, next BlizzCon is well, it's about 1 year away. It's next September, right? Yeah, I think it's next September. It's like over a year away. And that'll probably be when it's announced, which means it might be another year from there. So we might not have Classic Plus for 2 years. At this point, I think it's more copium to think Classic Plus isn't coming than to think it is. You see lawsuits like this. You see the community craving, and Blizzard is a company that wants to make money, and they know if they deliver, they're going to make money. I think it's copium that we... Honest. I really think it's coming. It's more about when. Is it going to be in 2 years from now? That's probably the case. It's going to take a while. If you read more into the lawsuit, Blizzard doesn't just want to shut them down. They want all of their builds and everything because they want to use it for sure. So that's interesting. I didn't know that. I don't think Blizzard would just one-for-one rip the Turtle WoW content because they would get insanely massive backlash. It would be terrible. Like if Blizzard sued Turtle WoW, took all their content and then made it official without hiring their team, that would be like, dude, everyone would just riot. So I don't know if they're gonna like. I would make a pretty strong claim they're not gonna do that because that would cause a riot. Like people wouldn't play, right? Like I think, dude, people would be rioting hard. Now, if they hired the Turtle WoW team to release their server officially and call it Classic Plus, and they like officially do it, I think everyone would be stoked. So it would be way different. Everyone would riot for 2 weeks and everyone would play. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right, man. If it's a sub, I'm not playing. I mean, I guarantee when Classic WoW Classic Plus comes out, there will be a sub fee. Yeah. Are you thinking that it's going to be free to play? Because I guarantee there's no way it's going to be free. I don't play TWoW because it's not official. So what's the point if it gets shut down? So I agree with you, Matt. Like I don't play Turtle WoW because it's not official. I also can't stream Turtle WoW and make content about it because it's not official. So like, I mean, I've said this many times on streams. You guys are probably already aware. But if content creators make content about private servers, not only can you get banned in WoW, because Blizzard could link your WoW account to you playing the private server and putting content on the internet, and you can get your WoW account banned. Not only that, you can also get DMCA'd on Twitch and have your Twitch account closed. It's like a massive no-no if you're a streamer or a content creator. I've been seeing lots of Twitch streamers on Turtle WoW the past couple of weeks, or on Epoch. Yeah, so you can stream Epoch if you're a small content creator and you're kind of going under the radar. But if you catch any, you're gonna get stopped. So this happened back in the day with Nostalrius. Like, some people were streaming Nostalrius and it was like, okay, it was kind of fine for a little bit. And then Soda Poppin streamed it, and I started streaming it, and a bunch of streamers started streaming it, and then we all got notices that like, you can't do that. So it's like, can't do that, yeah. When you say streamer, do you mean advanced panhandler? Yes? Like, how am I supposed to answer that, man? Goodness gracious. Unbelievable. True? What, guys, what do you mean true? Goodness gracious. I'm not like sitting here like begging people to Twitch Prime because it's absolutely free, doesn't cost you anything, it's going to avoid ads and support the stream at the same time by clicking one button right under the subscribe button, then it's just like a checkbox and you just click sub and it's like boom. That's not like what I'm here doing. I'm here content creating. That's right. It's a pretty good answer if you ask me. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. That's the advanced part right there. I don't know what this guy's on about. Oh, we got a Twitch Prime here from Barrows, 3-month sub. Welcome in, man. Yo, thanks for supporting the channel. That's what we're talking about. Snick, Savage, Twitch Prime. Thank you. There is no way Classic Plus is getting shown at this BlizzCon. They just finished development on SOD. They're working on MOP at the same time. If they're working on Classic Plus, they're in a very early prototype phase, and they won't be ready to show anything within a year since starting development, as much as I want it. I disagree. They finished SOD 3 months ago now, 2-3 months ago. Next BlizzCon isn't for another year. So they have over a year, and they probably started development a little before they planned to finish SOD. So they've had like a year and a half to announce it. Now, they aren't gonna just announce it and launch it, probably. They could announce it and it could be another year. So I completely disagree. I think the timing makes perfect sense that it would be at BlizzCon next year. Spangu, thanks for the Prime. Telemere, 93, thanks for the Prime. Kai, nice name, thanks for the Prime. Guys, we're almost on a Prime train. Opies, thanks for the Prime, guys. We're Prime training. There we go. There we go. No more ads. I think 1 year is even too late to announce it. I don't think it'll be too late. I think the hype will just continue to build until it's announced. Like, people want this product. I think it'll continue to just, like, roll up hype for the next year or two. Kind of like Nostalrius. Like, everyone wanted this, like, Classic WoW in 2016. We had to wait till 2019 to get it, but once it came out, the hype was just stupid unbelievable. I think something similar will happen here. That was so hype with SOD, they announced it and it came out a few weeks later. Dude, I still think, like, if SOD released without phases and we just had, like, that final phase, dude, that final phase was so good, but everyone quit by then. Yo, Rezev, thanks for the prime. Appreciate it. In one of the interviews, they said that they were working on SOD for something around a year. Raibimi, they can pull off a good Classic Plus within, let's say, 2 years. My opinion is that they should launch Classic Plus without much. They should let us vote on what is coming next to some degree and continue to develop this thing that will take 5 to 10 years to build into a really good state. I think they should do it. Very similar to RuneScape. So you launch it without a ton, but you give it the framework to build into something beautiful over a long period of time. I think if you want Classic WoW to really thrive, that's the way to do it. Let's just gamble and hope Blizzard makes it the best, right? Like, I think that's the only way. So my opinion is they could launch it like tomorrow. We have poll systems and we vote on what's to come. I don't think they should just launch with a bunch of changes and try to hope they get it right. Classic WoW excelled off the community, so keeping them engaged is key. Yeah, it has to be like a community community built system. What about our anniversary characters? So this is the problem. There's too many Classic WoWs. And actually, there's a video that I was maybe going to react to.
Classic WoW's in...
from Willie. Classic WoW is in a weird place at the moment. I wanted to show you guys the thumbnail. The thumbnail says so many games, but nothing to play. So in Classic WoW, you have Hardcore, Season of Discovery, Mists of Pandaria, and 20th Anniversary. This is a big problem, I think. Like, you have all of these people creating characters in all of these realms, but nothing they can really call home. And it's like, what do I actually spend time in and play? Like, I think we need to end Classic, just continuing to relaunch things. You merge that with retail or end the servers, do what you got to do, and we got to get that Classic Plus to replace all of this. And then Hardcore would be a checkbox and option in Classic Plus, so like you kind of keep that as a side game mode. Season of Discovery gets nuked, Mop gets moved to retail, nuked, and then Anniversary, you let it play out to TBC then Wrath because people want that, and it's like kind of too late to end it. But then once it gets to Wrath, and you kind of nuke it or move it to retail, and then from there you have Classic Plus. And you have two options. You have Classic and Retail. Two options. So when you're a new player coming to the game, do you want Classic or do you want Retail? Those are your options, right? I think that's what they should do. I think as much as these can be fun, I think having too many servers is like the downfall.
Às vezes, o trabalho pode ficar extremamente complicado, a não ser que você use a Monday.com, uma plataforma de gestão de trabalho que permite visualizar.
This is really dumb. This is so dumb that it demands my full attention.
Why does it seem whenever a CEO does something stupid in public, when faced with well-deserved backlash, they can't help but double down? As this video went viral.
The reason why is because they're if you want the real reason why, it's because a lot of them are, in a lot of cases, I think there is a higher degree of low social intelligence. That's the reason why, and they're used to being told that they can do whatever they want. They're entitled. Yeah, that's the reason.
Viral of a tennis store handing out a hat, only to be stolen by this
Wait, hold
man.
on. Let me watch this again.
Went viral of a tennis store.
Damn, bro, he just ninja looted that shit. He's clearly handing it to the kid.
Viral of a tennis store handing out a hat, only to be stolen by this grown man and immediately stuffed into a bag, as he obviously knew it wasn't meant for him. And as that snippet spread, the tennis store, Camille...
Oh, so this is the guy. Oh, so he even made he even talked about this?
Barge Shrek,
wait,
the tennis
what?
guy, stated that hat wasn't for the man. Help me find the kid. To which he did, and was able to get that young fan a hat, giving every...
Oh my god. What a stupid asshole. What kind of a guy steals a hat from a little kid like this? Yeah, this guy's great. Oh my...
Here, a happy ending. with the exception of that Polish.
The man who snatched a child's hat has been identified as a Polish CEO.
Piotr Scissors scumbag. It's apparently a millionaire CEO of some paving company. And as a fan of baseball who goes to a lot of games, I can somewhat respect the concept of anything flying into the stands is fair game. And if there's a
It wasn't flying, it was being handed.
Ball falling into my section, I don't care who you are, I'm probably gonna fight you for it. That being
honestly, I think that as an adult, like this is just the way that I'm talking about, like me. Like if I ever caught a home run ball in like a fucking, you know, a baseball field, I would just give it to a kid nearby. I would. If there's a kid standing next to me, I'd just give it to him. Because it's like he gonna remember that for the rest of his life. For me, it's just a ball, right? Like I'm a grown ass man, right? Like, cause you want to create like that magic for a kid, and I think he'd probably do the same thing. I mean, real talk, right? I mean, I think anybody really would do that. Because you're a good person. It's not even about being a good person, bro. Like, I just think that's just the way it is, right? I mean, it's the same as you hold the door open for people. Like, I mean, that's just what you do.
Said, I still don't think you can snatch something out of the grasp of a kid clearly being handed it. So I don't feel bad when that scissor scumbag's Polish paving company gets negative review bombed with comments that I can't quite understand, even when it's translated. But the worst part is, the CEO allegedly replied to their post, stating this was a disproportionate online storm. Yeah, I took the hat.
It is disproportionate. Yeah, it is. It's disproportionate, but you shouldn't have done it. You shouldn't have done it. Like, the thing is that this happened because of your behavior. You did something that caused this to happen to you.
But in real life, there's a rule. Who is first is first. Let's not make this into a scandal. It's just a hat.
This guy's trying to fucking go Rules of the Jungle against a 7-year-old. This guy's trying to play Machiavelli. What is this? Art of the Deal with an elementary schooler? Like, what are you doing?
If you were faster, you would have it. And I can somewhat understand his approach to this. When being canceled, you should never apologize to the mob, as no matter what, you're not going to win them back, so you're better off catering to whoever supports your actions, no matter how small or pathetic that group may be.
I don't even agree with that. I think that if you do something and you're just like obviously wrong, you're an asshole, you should 100% just be like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Like, yeah, my bad. I don't know why people, it's such a huge problem because people either apologize too much or not enough. It's okay to admit that you made a mistake. But the problem, I think, in a lot of cases is that you should never apologize if you're not sorry. If you're not sorry, don't apologize. Now, the problem is that I think this guy isn't sorry. I think he'd do it again.
He follows up with the dumbest, most sensitive thing ever, saying in Polish, insulting a public person is subject to legal liability. Offensive insinuations will be examined and possibly referred to court. And then there was
sue anybody, you fucking retard. Shut up. Shut up, you stupid fucking moron. Your company's what do you mean? You're gonna sue somebody over the comments that they made about you on the internet? You're gonna do anything. Shut the fuck up.
This other Polish response, allegedly from an attorney, bringing up all his long-winded lawyer speak, demanding everybody immediately stop violating their personal rights.
Oh, no.
Delete your comments within 3 days.
Wait, he's trying to get everybody to do. I would like to invite you to immediately discontinuation of any content or videos that violates the personal rights of my power and mine, including the deletion of the previously published comments within 3 days. Bro, shut the fuck up, bitch. No.
Public apology and pay us 10,000K, which roughly translates to $27,000 within 7 days, to make amends for moral harm and image losses, or else we're taking you to court.
Nobody's gonna give you any money.
we've already saved your comments. They literally couldn't have crafted a worse response to the theft of a hat.
What a
but
stupid
somehow
bitch.
these CEOs just aren't used to being treated like the scumbags that they are. And I don't know
Well, they're
anything.
not used to being held accountable. And I think that there are a lot of people who are wealthy who use legal methods in order to bully people into doing certain things. And sometimes it's a good thing, right? But oftentimes it's not.
Tem muito mais para aproveitar com o YouTube Music Premium. Ouça música sem anúncios e descubra novos podcasts. A qualquer hora e em qualquer lugar. Faça teste grátis por mês.
About Polish law, but American law says I can call that CEO
A stupid bitch.
Because even if those comments on that review site aren't genuinely his, that video from that tennis match is all the evidence I need to come up with my opinion. As I think it's really just about when these CEOs finally get exposed, they immediately revert to their, but I get special treatment because I'm rich and powerful.
Right.
Completely missing the point of, if you just kept your head down and didn't even address it, yes, that video is currently going viral and getting millions.
That's the thing that a lot of these guys don't understand. And I think it's a big problem that a lot of people have is that they don't realize that whenever people make up their mind that you're wrong, you're wrong. It doesn't matter that you think that you're right. It doesn't matter if you have the right opinion. Whenever the internet in general makes up their mind on something, that's the end of it. And I've learned this myself. Like, for me, every time that when I realize that I'm in a situation where we have entered into an area, and this is not an example of this, I'm just saying in general, you've entered into an area of dogmatic thinking, I see myself out. I'm like, okay, all right, let's not talk about this anymore. There's no longer a honest conversation to be had. Let's move on. It's just that simple.
Of views, but the internet is so ADHD, even if you think your viral moments will ruin your life forever,
nobody cares.
I'm sure if you saw that MFer is not real girl in real life, you wouldn't even notice her. But these idiots think they can lawsuit themselves out of the limelight, not knowing it only extends its notoriety. That's why I know if I ever get exposed snatching a foul ball from a Make-A-Wish kid, I'm not suing anybody for 27,000 Polish pennies. I'm simply saying if you think that's me in that video, you're a racist that can't tell us apart.
That's right, bro. That shit was AI, it's fake, that was somebody else, it wasn't me. That was not, guys, that wasn't me. I never said that.
So if you appreciate
AI
my
is
concise,
crazy
lighthearted commentary
nowadays
on the tragic status that is today's reality, subscribe to Decoy Voice, or any other random Asian guy channel, I probably couldn't tell the difference either.
Well, there you go, right? If the CEO never addressed the issue, it'd be forgotten in less than a week. You're right. A lot of people don't understand how to deal with controversy. Like, this is why I usually don't even fight people about stuff. I don't. If everybody is mad at me for something, I don't give a shit. Obvious that people have normalized attacks and negativity towards Christians. I think it's pretty common that this has happened. And I think it's also, and another point is probably also how it's reported too. But it's pretty obvious that attacks on people because they are, like, I guess, Christian, and I think that negative sentiment towards Christianity is a lot more socially accepted than negative sentiment towards Judaism or Islam. And I think the best way that you can easily say that is that what are the words that people use? Anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. Is there a word for Christian-like phobia? There is technically, but nobody probably even knows what it is. So I think that really kind of goes to show where the bias is here.
Have increased 730% since 2018. Now, the shooter fired through the windows of the church and did not enter the building. He later died by suicide. Ashley, Todd.
Lucas Tomlinson, live for us. Lucas, thank you. In just a few hours, Minnesota officials are expected to give an update on the shooting as we learn more about the shooter and their motive.
The coward that shot these victims took his own life in the rear of the church. That coward has been identified as 23-year-old Robin Westman. No prior criminal history. As to the weapons used to perpetrate this horrific attack, there was a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol.
That's a lot.
All three had been lawfully purchased by the shooter. At this stage, we believe that the shooter had acted alone. We're also aware of a manifesto
We watched this? Yeah, I know.
that the shooter
This is gonna
had
be a minute.
timed to be released on YouTube. This
Got deleted.
manifesto appeared to show him at the scene and included some disturbing writings.
What a surprise.
The shooting happened in Hennepin County, where Rich Stanek served
Nobody
as
would
the
have
sheriff.
expected.
He joins us now. Rich, thanks for getting up and talking to us about this. I wish it was on better terms here, but you know what makes me the most sick about all of this, when you think about it, are those two kids who lost their lives. Their parents were putting them to bed for the last time the night before he was filming this horrific and disturbing manifesto about what he was going to do the next day. And that does not sit well with me, and I know it doesn't sit well with other parents.
It's disgusting.
Did you ever think that something like this...
I think that there should be a massive outcry that people have for the amount of social support and allowance for this type of behavior that happens. Because right now, there's this massive, there's like a concerted effort for these people to seemingly not connect or have any sort of increase in mental health problems. It's fucking weird. Yeah, exactly. Like, people need to stand up and shut this stuff down. Like, this is, as I said before, like, I think that this should be like a hot button issue for like the next elections. Is anybody who thinks that kids can transition and consent to sex changes, this should just be like, you should ask that of every single Democrat. And if any of them say yes, this should be like a categorical disqualifier, like flat earth. It's insane.
would happen where you served as sheriff?
Just go to prison? I don't know about that.
You know, there really aren't words that can describe what happened yesterday here in Minneapolis. I mean, reprehensible, cowardice, and honestly, the third one I can't even say on live TV. And talking with first responders who were at the scene, they said it was horrific and ghastly. Young kids, parents, the most vulnerable parts of our society.
Make guns hard to get to? No, I think you're right. I think that definitely, like, people like this that are buying a bunch of guns, especially recently, like if you're buying a shotgun, a pistol, and a rifle all at the same time very recently, I think that there definitely should be like a degree of red flags that you have. Like, I feel like people should be able to own a gun, but if a person is questionable in terms of their mental state, you absolutely, it's absolutely a conversation whether this person should own a gun or not. There needs to be more of them.
A church service, young school-age children in school that first week celebrating together, and then you have something like this.
When you talk to your colleagues in law enforcement there on the ground in Minnesota, had any of them heard anything about this killer before? In other words, was he, she on anybody's radar?
You know, I mean, the investigation will tell what exactly was the true motive. You've heard the FBI say they're looking at it as a domestic act of terrorism. You've heard them say they're looking at it as a hate crime. He really didn't have much of a criminal history. May have been a graduate of the school. Still a lot of facts that need to be...
A lot of people are saying, like, oh, just make it easier to buy a gun. I think that Germany proves that that's not really that's not like an end goal solution. Like, people in Germany end up killing more people with cars than people in America do with what do you call it, with guns, like per mass event, right? Obviously, collectively, of course, Americans kill each other with guns way more, but like in terms of like the, like, you know, like some guy driving through a crowd in Germany, massive amounts of people get killed. So like if you get rid of guns, that's not going to solve the problem. That's cap. Well, let's take a look. So here we go. These are just like some of the recent ones, right? This is all from 2025. 28 people are hurt. 1 person is dead. 2 are dead right here. Several are injured. And you have over here, right here, killing at least 2 people. Like, people get killed by this also. Like, and again, my point that I'm making with this is not that Germany's bad. I'm not trying to shit on Germany. What I'm trying to say is that you can't just, it's the same reason like Britain banning knives, for example. Like, Britain banning knives isn't going to solve the underlying problem that people are trying to use knives. The underlying problem here is that people are trying to go out and kill people. That's the real issue here.